The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's Nico de Haan on Living a Primal Lifestyle. Paige is out today. She's at a Qigong seminar, so I hope she's enjoying herself and upgrading her conditioning a little bit, and probably really enjoying the atmosphere in a Qigong seminar. So welcome to the show. The number here is 877-927-6648. I'd like to have you pick up my Health Signals newsletter. I have a new issue out. We're going to be discussing a little bit of that. The theme of the show today really is change. And one of the things I really like about science and digging into information and just looking at, the discovery of new things, but changing our mind about things that we thought were right, and now we have a different view on it. And I think it's important to realize that's what science is. As we learn new things, we change our mind about things, and then we go kind of in a different direction. And I think it's important to always keep an open mind on everything that we do, not only our eating and the way we remain fit, but how we treat each other and how we look at the world as a whole, and maybe just your neighborhood as a whole. So let's get into it. The newsletter right now is starting off with like I said, a little bit of theme. There's a lot of paleo now in the news, and it's kind of nice because we're becoming more mainstream in a way. And, this first article really goes into some of the things that we really thought about that were kind of insane, like going barefoot, how going barefoot really is good for your feet, and being confined in shoes maybe is not the greatest idea. The other thing, of course, is that when you look at women's shoes, then, it's even more insane, because here not only are they strapping them into these real thin toes, but they're jacking the heel up, and causes all kinds of alignment problems. And because, of course, it makes the legs look good, we like it as men, and women like it because we're looking at them more. It makes sense, but from an anatomical standpoint, it was really created more of a fashion idea, not having anything to do with our health or, really how we look. Yes, it is sexier, but I'm sure if we were barefoot all the time, I think the girls are just as sexy, and so are us men, I think. The next article on here goes, there's a thing on here called the Grass-Fed Exchange, and this is a annual seminar conference that goes on, and it's in Missouri right now, I think. Yeah, Columbia, Missouri. And this will take you to the site. And it's grass-fed beef, of course, grass-fed beef was kind of a niche. But now with the paleo movement, more people looking at a low-carb lifestyle, they're looking more at the protein that is the value of the protein and how these animals are being fed. So it's important to, oops, forgot to shut off my phone. I guess I better do that right now. So I'm going to, take a look at this site, and there's going to be a lot of speakers that come on in this seminar, in this conference, and I'll be posting some of their videos as we go along. Then I've got an article on humanity's forgotten return to Africa, and this really has to do with our history and how people the anthropologists are kind of changing their mind about how humanity moved out of Africa, and now we think we kind of moved back into it. And I've got another article in here that kind of ties to that, but it's very interesting. There's a lot of foods that we have today that we're thinking a little differently about. And this article in here in the Health Signals is some things were considered very healthy, and then all of a sudden around World War II, it began with vilifying some of these things. And now we're changing our mind again, so you can see how this kind of works. One of the things being coconut oil. It's a saturated fat. People thought, well, saturated fat is not good for you because of the Ansel Keys experiments and his book on the fat. And now we're realizing that, of course, it's much better for you. Same thing with coffee, whole milk, salt, chocolate, eggs. All these things are really good for you, and we thought for a long time there wasn't. Also, an article here about a trans fat that really is good for you and helps you get rid of type 2 diabetes. So you can see how we're really looking at things differently. I think it's important to realize that this is going on all the time. Nice article about homemade toothpaste, so you can make your own healthy toothpaste, and also one for making deodorant, which I thought was pretty cool, how to make non-toxic, long-lasting organic deodorant. One of the things that we have, of course, is when we're trying to cover up our odor, a lot of the odor comes from the type of food we eat. Of course, if we're eating junk food, we're going to smell different than if we're eating very, very healthy food. But also, a lot of the antiperspirants have mercury in them. They have aluminum in them. They have all kinds of toxins in them, and they're kind of blocking up the pores. So there is a much more natural way. It was about 20 years ago I discovered the crystal sticks, and they work quite well. They don't stop you from perspiring, but they stop the odor. So I, of course, love to perspire, and I think it's important that we don't clog up those things and trying to stop you from perspiring. But everybody is the same. I've got some other homemade remedies in here, air fresheners, and how to make organic mineral lipstick. So I thought that was fascinating. History of the anti-fat crusade. This gives you a pretty much blow-by-blow description of how fat was vilified for a long time and how now people are changing their mind about that. And, I was listening to a podcast the other night with a doctor, I forget his name now, but he was really talking about processed foods. And, we talk a lot about, we don't want our food processed, but, you forget about some of the things like coconut oil and olive oil. We think about those things as almost non-processed foods, but they do go through a process. And if we're going to look at our history of how we evolved through thousands of years, most of the time not getting any processed foods at all, and now all of a sudden switching in a relatively short piece of time, we're still using processed foods very naturally. So, and the thing being even butter, milk goes through a process. But imagine that our bodies are really built for the other way around, that we have none of those processes at all. So we're getting our fat only from animals and some of the plants that we can get without, eating the whole thing, in other words, not breaking it down. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that we're looking at it differently, and what we think is processed it may not be as highly processed, but sometimes the things are much more processed than you think. And one of the things that are really processed hard are those vegetable oils, because to get oil out of a olive, all you have to do is really compress it and the oil starts dripping out. But now to try to get oil out of seeds or soybeans, you have to really go through a chemical process. So not only are they using a high heat infusion, but they're also using chemicals to extract the oil out. Of course, some of that chemical that they use, those solvents, are stuck in that oil, and one of the reasons that it's really not that great for you. Getting back to the newsletter, last week we talked about chemotherapy and how to fight cancer naturally. And here's that article I promised you, and that was Dr. D'Agostino, that really talks about what his research is showing. And I've got a talk here with him on there that is probably about an hour long, that he'll tell you how he did the process and how they came up with this whole thing. So I thought that was very interesting. And this article I put in here, I have a real fascination with ancient monuments and, what really our societies maybe have forgotten that there was a whole race of people here, just like us, that were here probably 30, 40, 50, or maybe 100,000 years ago, that built things that we can't seem to build today. And this is a Carpathian Sphinx that's in Romania. And Dr. Schock, who I followed for quite a while, ever since he had put the article about the erosion in the around the Sphinx enclosure, how it was actually caused by torrential rains, and that for thousands and thousands of years it's been dry there in Egypt, and only about 12,000 years ago was it really, maybe 10 or 12,000 years ago, it really had a lot of rain going on. So he presumed that these monuments were probably built before that time, since it shows that it does have a lot of accumulation of that rain erosion by torrential storms. So he's following up on a lot of different things and going around the world looking at all these ancient sites, some of them on Easter Island, but this one is in Romania, and there's a movie on here. It's about an hour and a half, The Mystery of the Carpathian Sphinx, and I found it quite fascinating. Some recipes. We promised that we have one of our callers call in and send us a recipe for her chicken broth and bone broth. Fantastic stuff. The full thing is right in here, and I also have a nice recipe for some ham. Slow cooker ham, which is really easy to fix. Amazing how easy this stuff is. And the last thing on here is exercise, and this is a system called Primal Movement, and why it's really good for you. And I put in here all the videos on it. Simple stuff, but very, very effective to make you healthy and wealthy. And why? So you can keep on trading. So that's really what the newsletter is all about, folks. I'm trying to make a theme out of this newsletter, because I thought, there are so many things in our life that we go along, we just assume are one way, and then all of a sudden we discover that it's actually the other way around. And I guess that's what life is all about. As you're a child, you see things one way, and as you grow up, you no longer believe in Santa Claus, and your view on what your surroundings are is completely changes. I mean, everything was so big when I was small, and now that I'm bigger, of course, things are smaller. So, I mean, it's just, I think it's very fascinating that change, a lot of people are afraid of. I always have been of the mind to embrace change. So anytime that even a change came about that I didn't particularly like, I always wanted to kind of look at that and say, okay, now what's the opportunity here? And that kind of takes you in a different direction, because if you're saying, why me all the time, then you're really looking to escape from that, whereas you meet it kind of head on by saying, here I've got something that's happening to me that's not particularly what I want, doesn't feel that good. Now, how can I take that and make it good? And when you can do that in your life, then the stress leaves you. And as you know, that from this program, that we really talk about stress as being one of the indicators for disease. When you have a lot of stress, your body has to kind of manage that stress before it can do anything else. That's one of the urgent things that go on. So it's another way to look at life, folks. The number here is 877-927-6648. Now, I have a song coming out from Caroline Cole, which will be in the last segment, but look for that. It's a great song, a great video, and I think you'll really enjoy that. Coming up, folks, we're going to talk about the end of overeating, taking control of the insatiable American appetite, and how the former FDA, one of the FDA guys, has written a book on that. So one of our viewers, David, has brought me that. So I'll talk about that a little bit. We'll be right back.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418 8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a red light, green light indicator that gives you signals on 25 different future contracts? Now you can with Taz Signal Box. This red light, green light market profile system dynamically updates 24 hours a day and provides you with important trend and trade signals on 9 different commodities, 9 different indices, and 8 different currencies. Right now, you can receive a free 2-week trial to Taz Signal Box. For all the details and to find out how the Signal Box works, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Andy Heck's powerful weekly newsletter, the Technomental Commodity Report, has delivered multiple triple-digit winning trades in recent months. And right now's the perfect time to get a full month-long trial to Andy's newsletter with no obligation to pay anything. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you'll lock in the low rate of only $59 a month. Sign up right now for the Technomental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. Paige is gone, but she'll be back next week, so we'll see her then. We were talking about this book by David Kessler called The End of Overeating, on why we can't stop eating, sent to us by someone from the Tiger's Den. So thank you very much for sending that. And what Dr. Kessler is really talking about, that there's basically an instinct in us to gravitate to certain things. One being sugar, of course. Another one being fat, and the third one being pepper. Being salt. So these are the three things that we crave. If you look at it from a standpoint of availability, thousands of years ago, you would say that there's not a lot of sugar out there in the wild. There's not a lot of salt out there in the wild. I mean, there are places where you can get it, but it's not relatively available pretty much everywhere. But there is a lot of fat out there in the wild, mostly in animals, some in some plants too, especially some tropical plants like coconut and palm and stuff like that. So that kind of gives you an indication of how, in proportion, we should be eating. So we should be eating the fat, because there's a lot of it out there. But the sugar and the salt, not so much. So it just makes a lot of sense. And the fast food industry is what the Kessler is saying, of course, knows this and has strategically placed fat and different kinds of sugars and different kinds of salts in our food to compel us to eat these things. What they've done with the sugar, of course, sugar was relatively inexpensive to make. It's a highly processed food, and you can shove it in anything. It keeps rather well. You don't have to refrigerate it, so you can see the reasons for using that. Salt, the same thing, pretty readily available, especially the cheap stuff that's not that great for you. Fat, to make it economical, you have to invent kind of a different kind of fat, something that stays on the shelf for a long time if you want to use it in fast food, because even in fast food, you know, there's nothing really fresh. It's, first of all, shipped in large containers to the place where they're making it, and then it stays on the shelf for a long time and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that these people are putting really much inferior fats in the fast food. So that's when they came up with the hydrogenated fats, which is the cottonseed oil and, of course, peanut oil. I don't consider a great source either. Soybean oil, the rapeseed oil. You know, you're talking about Crisco, you're talking about margarines and things like that, that the food industry is really cramming into the food, and also frying with those oils. So, and those oils become rancid very quickly. They're very detrimental to our health. So this book is really important. I think it would be nice to talk about it. I got a message here about how about flaxseed oil. Flaxseed oil is, again, a highly processed oil. You know, the more processed things go to, the worse it is for our bodies. It just makes a lot of sense. So if you're going to use an oil, use something that comes from an animal because that's a natural fat. Use maybe something that comes from a coconut or from an olive. Makes more sense. It's still processed, but processed at a completely different than if you take a small seed and use those thousands of seeds and compress them and expel them out with all kinds of different kinds of chemicals that you need to do that with. It's not something that's going to be healthy for you. So it just, you know, that's just the way it is. Let's see, what else does he say about that? Of course, he's talking about food labels and how that can help to people. But, you know, really what we need the food industry to do is be conscientious and look at the health of these things and how, I mean, if you're an executive working for McDonald's or Burger King or something like that, and you look out at the population, you're not looking at those people as, boy, I'm really building health in this community. You're looking at how much money am I making and how do my numbers look so I can show my boss and my stockholders that we're making money. Has absolutely nothing to do with our health and the welfare of the country or that we want to keep the customers healthy. It has everything to do with just lining our own pockets. So, you know, the whole change that I feel that has to take place in our society is really changing our the way we attract people to the workplace, not by money, but by their passion. That's the way it should be. And money is always put first, and I think that's the problem we have in society. I think the other thing is things being too big. I think large companies, large countries, large people is not good for us. I think it's the smaller and the more local we can do it. If I can spend my money locally, has much more of an impact on my community than if I give it to somebody that doesn't even know me. Folks, we'll be right back. The number here is 877-927-6648. And pick up my Health Signals newsletter, please. I'll be right back.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock in option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors. The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by BackTech Environmental. For more information, just click the BackTech banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. And I read across this article that was called Alcohol and Drugs, Not Just for Modern Humans. Unlike most modern humans, the prehistoric people of Europe did not use mind-altering substances simply for their pleasure. Researchers contend that their use was an integral part of prehistoric beliefs and that these substances were seen to aid in communication with the spiritual world. Unlike modern humans, they used alcohol, plants such as the opium popsy and hallucinogenic mushrooms that went along with their belief system and their sacred burial rites of many of those societies. There's people out here looking at this and saying they believed it aided in communication with the spirit world. Despite the fact that the consumption of these substances is as ancient as human society itself, it is only fairly recently that the researchers have started to look into historical and cultural contexts in which mind-altering products were used in Europe. To add to the body of literature about the anthropological of intoxication in the European prehistoric societies, they documented that the cultural significance of consuming these substances in their cultures was for 4 different types of documents were examined. One of them was the macrofossil remains of leaves, fruits, or seeds of these plants, residue of alcoholic beverages, and alkaloids found in artifacts and skeleton remains from prehistoric times. So they looked at several different sources to find this. They found some remains of opium, poppy seeds, and teeth of adult males in Spain, charred cannabis seeds in bowls found in Romania, and traces of barley beer on several ceramic vessels in Libya, or Iberia, excuse me. So they're finding these all over the place. And one of the things in my newsletter, I was talking about the Sphinx that's in Romania. And, of course, these people were Neanderthal people who were living in that particular area. Quite a fascinating area because when you look at the country, it looks like out of a horror movie where you see these big mountains with these charred edges. You'd never think to go up there, and you get about 9,000 feet, and all of a sudden there's this beautiful plateau. And in this plateau, which is miles long, are these the Sphinx at one end. There's another monument at the other end, and I think on both corners, I think. So it's pretty fascinating. But they really believe that they were using these monuments as religious monuments. They were pointing at some kind of constellations. They were also pointing these monuments at true north and the longitudinal lines. And how did these people figure out what the longitudinal lines were? And it's pretty puzzling, that's for sure. So I know that I followed a couple of people who have been taking hallucinogenics like Graham Hancock, who has used Hawassi, which is a part of a cactus, I believe, of some kind that you have to drink it. Pretty nasty stuff from what I hear. But the hallucinogenic effect apparently almost taps you into another dimension in a sense. And what the historical people believe is that the ancient man was using this kind of to tap into that other dimension. In fact, Graham Hancock, one of his latest theories is that a lot of the things that we see on these cave drawings and some of the prehistoric art is really something that they have seen in that other dimension while they were under the influence of some of these drugs. A pretty fascinating story because he ties it into people who have an ability to have this natural effect of being hallucinated and then maybe seeing flying saucers, aliens, types of things. Many of the similar drawings that you can see on some cave walls. And if you look at both of them, then you're starting to see kind of a pattern here that these people were expressing something that they actually saw, but maybe they didn't see it while they were awake. Maybe they saw it in dreams or in this other dimension or whatever that is. Who knows? But I think it's pretty fascinating when you look at, we're tapping into, now that marijuana is in the news, we're really tapping into looking at these kinds of things in a different way. First of all, through a plan to maybe that these things can help us with some conditions. The other thing is maybe they can help us figure out something about where we came from and what is out there in the other realms. I mean, after all, we live in a couple of different worlds. We think about this is the life we live, and everything around us is here, and these are the people that we're interacting with, and that's one reality. There's a whole different reality when you go to sleep. And you may be dreaming about what's going on here too, but you may be also be taking a completely different journey where you're flying through the air. You can do things you normally can't, and that's a separate life almost. It's very fascinating. Then you have a hallucinogenic side maybe. Then there's a lot of times where you can kind of be awake and still drift off. And that's a kind of another dimension. And I've even had experiences where I can sit down and just all of a sudden you're kind of like looking down on yourself, and like an out-of-body experiences that many people have talked about too. So, all these experiences are kind of different lives in a sense. And I've always been excited and very curious about that. So I think it's good that it comes into view. Okay, so let's go on. One of the things that Paige and I often talk about is the Weston Price Society and his work in, really having to look at indigenous people. And one of the fascinating things that Weston Price did, he was such a scientific entity that he really, when he looked at these primitive people, he didn't just take any people. He made sure that the primitive people were still hunter and gatherers, number one. Okay, this was in the 1920s, so probably easier to find then than now. But he also wanted to make these sure that they hadn't really been modernized in any way. So in other words, no contact with the outside world from a cultural standpoint where they're starting to use some of the modern techniques and things. The other thing is the interbreeding part, that he wanted to make sure that the stock of the sample that he was doing his research on were people who were came from that society, weren't inbred with other societies, so the stock was really top-notch, and he knew that his control was much higher than if he went outside that. So he looked at these indigenous people completely different, and he was a fanatic about this, and that's what makes his research so valuable. Especially, when he saw those people, you can imagine when he looked at these people, their faces were a lot broader than ours were, and the teeth were just nice and white gleaming, and you think these people don't have, access to dental care. They didn't have access. They didn't use toothbrushes. They didn't floss their teeth. It's pretty fascinating how they were just so much healthier than we are. Excuse me. So I encourage you to go to the Weston Price site and really take a look at some of the things that he was talking about. And what else is in here that he was talking? I got the article mixed up. Never mind. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing then. One of the things that we have right here. Oh, yeah, this is it. We talk a lot about fast food. And I read across an article, Chef Jamie Oliver, who proves that McDonald's burgers are unfit for human consumption. And folks, what's really going on in our food industry, especially the fast food industry, is that, when you get a burger, it's really not a burger. In fact, you may be lucky if it's 15% burger. So, because when we think about burger, we're thinking really about grass-fed beef. It's kind of just mashed into a little patty. And it's just ground beef. But in fast food industry, that's not really the case. Used to be a little joke that if it says 100% beef, you can be assured that there's about a 40% of it is beef, and the rest is filler. And what they fill this with, of course, is something that's going to help preserve it, first of all. That's the first concern. Because remember, if you have raw meat and you put it into a patty and now you have to put it on a shelf for a long time, you're going to have to preserve that, because I don't know about you, but if I put it on my kitchen counter and I come back an hour later, it's already changed color. And that's the first indication that the oxygen is working and starting to dissolve this stuff. So the first thing they do is put that in there, and then they start putting some fillers that kind of binds with it. It's easy to actually have a bland taste to it, but if you mix it with the burger, it kind of tastes with the burger. So they're using usually a soy in there, sometimes even some kind of grain in there. So beans are really something that they really use as a filler too. And of course then they want to sweeten it a little bit, so high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is important because it makes you more hungry. So it's important for the food industry to actually put it in there as a means not only just to sweeten it up, but actually, so if you eat a couple of burgers, you're probably going to eat that third one. And then, of course, what happens to that burger then is it sits around for quite a while, and then they finally throw it onto the grill. And on that grill, there may be some of the places even fry the darn things. And then, of course, you're using those vegetable oils. So 15% beef in your 100% beef. So stop using pink slime now. Pink slime, of course, is where they force the whole piece of meat in through an extrusion method, and they blend it with all kinds of things. I know when you're talking about the chicken nuggets, I've seen pictures of this extrusion machine where they throw the whole chicken in there. Bones, everything, beak, and even feathers sometimes, and shove it in there and screw it out, and it comes on, and that's where they get that pink slime. It all looks kind of pink because the blood is all in there. Then they have to kind of bleach it out, so they use a chemical bleach to bleach it, and it's just get sick just kind of talking about it, don't you? Yeah, boy. So let's see what else we got here. All right, so here's a study that finds Tamiflu is not as effective as believed. And Tamiflu is really probably one of the more effective things that you would say to help you get rid of the flu. I know a lot of people use Tamiflu, and I think there's a couple of other forms of it out there. But they're saying now the effects on pneumonia and other flu is not so good. It does cause nausea, vomiting, headaches, kidney problems, even psychiatric effects, and some kind of serious heart rhythm problems. So the researchers have questioned why Tamiflu is being stockpiled by U.S. government and why it's being classified as an essential drug. Folks, flu is not a serious disease most of the time, and if you've got a healthy lifestyle, if you're eating right, I don't think you even get the flu. Most of the people that I know that are eating the way I eat don't get the flu anymore. We don't get colds very much. Much less effective, much more effective also at helping you through the flu season, all these different allergies that come about, it seems like. And I really believe that the allergies are caused by the type of agriculture that goes on. No longer do we have the diversity where plants are mixed together and things that we know. We grow one plant for miles and miles and miles, destroying everything else. I think that really causes a lot of problems for a lot of people. And then makes you more susceptible to all the different things that are out there. So I think if you straighten out some of the eating habits that you have by maybe getting rid of most of the grains, or at least cutting down on them and not making them so much of a staple, cutting out sodas. The soft drink industry makes millions on us, and in countries like Mexico now, they've been so inundated that people consume more soda than they do water. It really doesn't make any sense because, of course, it's going to cause obesity, and that's what's happening in Mexico. And the drug companies, the soda companies, which I guess are drug companies, they know how to influence people, and they went in there years and years ago, giving away the stuff for free and very low prices, and infusing it into their schools, forcing these people to start getting addicted to this stuff. So it's not a pretty sight, that's for sure. Now I've got coming into the next segment, I'm going to show you a video of Caroline Cole. She's a friend of ours, friend of the family's. She's she'll be 17 in June, I believe. She's been writing music for many, many years. She's got this second video out. It's called If He'd Ever Look Up, and it's really a cute story because she's going to the coffee shop, sees the guy that she really, really likes, and he's looking down at his computer and his phone, and she thinks, well, he's ignoring me. He doesn't see me. If he just look up, he'd see me, and then we could start a relationship. Meanwhile, he's there looking at this and trying to Google her. Who's this Caroline Cole, and where is she? How can I meet her? And this is really kind of cute and has a happy ending. So we're going to start with that in the next segment. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and then we'll conclude the show. So thanks for sticking around, folks. We'll be right back, and Paige is going to be back next week. So see you then.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Up next, the Diagnostics Trading Hour with Daryl Martin here on TFNN.
So here's the video of Caroline Coles, and if you'd only look up. So enjoy.
I see him there in a coffee shop, so I sit across. Not too far away, hoping we'll meet eye to eye and then say hi, but all I do is wait. If he'd ever look up from that screen, if he'd ever look up, he'd see me.
folks, if you'd ever look up, that's pretty amazing. If you saw her at 8 years old and pick up that little guitar and start singing out these songs with her little voice, and as the years went by, her voice just got bigger and bigger and started writing this music. And at 10 years old, you could already see the quality of what she was writing. She was writing about things that I could relate to. At almost 70 years old, I can relate to somebody that's writing at 10 years old. It's kind of mind-blower. So I invite you to look her up on iTunes or anywhere else. She's on the web. Caroline Cole, K-O-L-E. Folks, we'll be back next week, and my partner Paige will be here, and I'm sure she has plenty to say about Qigong. We're going to probably discuss some Qigong next week. So. Have a great weekend, folks. Enjoy the weather. See you later.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.